Hey everybody, today we're going to learn how to solder. So before we do that, we have to get acquainted with the soldering booth area. Here you can see there is the tripod and mesh, the fire brick, and the third hand that we're going to be using. We can also see that there's flux over here, as well as steel tweezers, there's the quenching bucket, and there's actually strikers and tin snips in this other bucket. As we go into here, you can also see that there is a light that you can turn on and off that we're going to be using at different times. There are a few other things of which you need to be aware before we start learning the different types of soldering that are common to most jewelry processes. You already know you need to use flux to keep the metal clean and to make the solder flow. However, you may need to reconstitute the flux if it has dried out. We try to prevent that by keeping it in Tupperware containers, but occasionally you will have to put about a teaspoon of water in the container and mix it if you can see it's not the consistency of Elmer's glue. You should also turn on the vents anytime you are soldering. The switches are under the cabinets above the counter on the right side of the sink in the back of the classroom. Once you are ready to solder, you can turn on the natural gas and air valves that are under each of the soldering booths. When creating the edge to surface sample, you need a large square piece of brass and a small piece of brass. Both pieces have to be completely flattened with a rawhide mallet. You can get the pieces from the counter near the sink in the front of the classroom or on the example table by the soldering booths. The instructor may move the location, but it will generally be in one of those two areas. You will also need the hard solder, the half-round file, and the flux brush from your toolkit, as well as sandpaper to prepare the sample. Remember, right now all the pieces look the same and someone can claim yours if you don't stamp your initials into the pieces, so make sure you do that. And not in an area that's going to be covered by solder or metal. If the pieces are not flat, you can pound them with a rawhide mallet. Notice that all the preparation is done on the tables in the classroom. You shouldn't be over in the soldering booth until you are completely prepared and ready to solder. There should also not be any sandpaper in the soldering booth area, because it is flammable. To prepare the samples, you will need to file one end of the smaller brass piece and sand halfway up the surface. The other piece should be sanded on the top surface in order to prepare it for soldering. When you sand the pieces, remember you shouldn't touch them with your hands. Therefore, it is recommended to hold the piece with sandpaper while you sand it with your other hand. You might be tempted to pick the pieces up with your fingers, but you need to make sure you pick them up with tweezers and put them in the top of your tool tin to keep them clean. If there is dirt or oil on the pieces, they will not solder. You are now ready to take them over to the soldering area. You also need to take process photos for your digital portfolio. I would suggest taking at least 4 for each solder type so you can choose what you want to show in your portfolio. Taking a photo during the process and another one when the solder is sanded at the end is a good idea. Remember, you should be wearing safety glasses and tie long hair back when soldering. You should also not be wearing loose clothing. This includes hoodie strings. We don't want to accidentally set ourselves on fire. To set up this solder, you need to pick up the piece of brass with the tweezers and flux the larger piece. Then you will put it on the fire brick. After this, you will pick up the smaller piece with tweezers, flux it, and place it in a third hand so the filed edge is perpendicular to the larger piece and placed in the middle of that piece. You also need to make sure there is no gap or space between the two pieces of metal. When you have the pieces set up, you can then sand the hard solder you'll be using. Then you will cut the solder vertically with the tin snips or aviation shears. Make sure you do not cut off the letter that tells you what kind of solder you are using, because you will need it again later. Remember, we are using hard solder first because it melts at the highest temperature. You should cut the solder vertically first and then use the tin snips to cut just a few pieces of solder onto the fire brick or into your tin so you do not waste solder. Then pick up a few solder pieces with the flux brush and use a tweezers to scrape those pieces into place along one side of the seam between the perpendicular piece and the piece that is flat on the fire brick. Once the solder is in place, light the torch and dry the flux by petting it with a feathery flame over the metal. The feathery flame should be very quiet and orange when you do this, or you will blow the solder right off the piece. It's basically mostly gas and little or no air. Once the flux is bubbled up and crusty, you can change the flame to a tight cone flame that is about 2 inches long. You can also accidentally boil the solder off the piece by heating it too quickly, so be careful. Point the flame down onto the metal and move in slow concentric circles to compensate the heat until the solder melts. You may have to hold the torch from underneath because it may take a while for the piece to get hot enough for the solder to melt. Remember, the tip of the flame is the hottest part. If you don't keep that part on the piece, the whole process will not work. Once the solder melts, you can turn off the torch and quickly use the tweezers to remove the piece from the third hand to quench it in the water bucket closest to you. If the piece gets stuck to the third hand or the fire brick, you can use the torch and tweezers to remove it. But if you are struggling, ask another student or your instructor for help. During the process, both the fire brick and the third hand get very hot. Notice that I had to quench the third hand and I let the fire brick air cool. If you get water on the fire brick, it will crack and be useless. Once the piece is quenched, place the piece in your hand and take it over to the pickle. Put the protective gear on and place your pieces in the pickle with the copper tongs. There are a few very important things to remember about the pickle. First and foremost is that it's an acid solution that works best when it's warm, which is why we turn it on. It should be on either warm or low. It is also extremely important to cover the solution and to make sure it doesn't boil because the fumes are noxious, meaning that they can kill you. This is why the vent should always be on when we solder. Additionally, it's easiest to get the pieces out of the pickle when you use the draining pickle containers. There are small ones for smaller work and larger ones for larger pieces. More than one piece can go in the containers, so please make sure that you're sharing with your classmates. This is also why we're stamping our initials into those pieces. Generally speaking, it takes about 10 minutes to remove the fire scale created from soldering, but it may take longer than that if your piece was really black because you made some mistakes along the way or had to heat longer than you might have liked. Once you remove the piece from the pickle, you can file and sand any excess solder off the piece so your last process photo is of the soldered piece that shows just the finished solder seam. Then add the images to your digital portfolio so you can submit your work in Canvas. Remember, when you're done soldering for the day, you should follow the cleanup directions that are on the wall by the soldering booth to make sure that nothing is left in the booth and all of the gas and air are turned off.